Christianity, if false, is of no importance, and if true, of infinite importance. The only thing it cannot be is moderately important. If you look for truth, you may find comfort in the end. If you look for comfort, you will not get either comfort or truth, only soft soap and wishful thinking to begin, and in the end, despair. Look for yourself, and you will find in the long run only hatred, loneliness, despair, rage, ruin, and decay. But look for Christ, and you will find him, and with him everything else thrown in. The safest road to hell is the gradual one, the gentle slope, soft underfoot, without sudden turnings, without milestones, without signposts. Of all tyrannies, a tyranny sincerely exercised for the good of its victims may be the most oppressive. The task of the modern educator is not to cut down jungles, but to irrigate deserts. Has this world been so kind to you that you should leave with regret? There are better things ahead than any we leave behind. Let's pray that the human race never escapes from earth to spread its iniquity elsewhere. Even in literature and art, no man who bothers about originality will ever be original, whereas if you simply try to tell the truth, without caring twopence how often it has been told before, you will, 9 times out of 10, become original without ever having noticed it. Affection is responsible for 9/10 of whatever solid and durable happiness there is in our lives. I gave in and admitted that God was God. A young man who wishes to remain a sound atheist cannot be too careful of his reading. Nothing is more dangerous to one's own faith than the work of an apologist. No doctrine of that faith seems to me so spectral, so unreal as one that I have just successfully defended in a public debate. Satan, the leader or dictator of devils, is the opposite, not of God, but of Michael. The real problem is not why some pious, humble, believing people suffer, but why some do not. Always prefer the plain, direct word to the long, vague one. Don't implement promises, but keep them. I believe in Christianity as I believe that the sun has risen, not only because I see it, but because by it I see everything else. If I find in myself a desire which no experience in this world can satisfy, the most probable explanation is that I was made for another world. If you read history, you will find that the Christians who did most for the present world were precisely those who thought most of the next. It is since Christians have largely ceased to think of the other world that they have become so ineffective in this. We are what we believe we are. Literature adds to reality. It does not simply describe it. It enriches the necessary competencies that daily life requires and provides, and in this respect, it irrigates the deserts that our lives have already become. No one ever told me that grief felt so like fear. If the whole universe has no meaning, we should never have found out that it has no meaning. Just as, if there were no light in the universe and therefore no creatures with eyes, we should never know it was dark. Dark would be without meaning. Some people feel guilty about their anxieties and regard them as a defect of faith, but they are afflictions, not sins. Like all afflictions, they are, if we can so take them, our share in the passion of Christ. Miracles do not, in fact, break the laws of nature. A man who is eating or lying with his wife or preparing to go to sleep in humility, thankfulness, and temperance is, by Christian standards, in an infinitely higher state than one who is listening to Bach or reading Plato in a state of pride. 30 was so strange for me. I've really had to come to terms with the fact that I am now a walking and talking adult. Everyone has noticed how hard it is to turn our thoughts to God when everything is going well with us. While what we call our own life remains agreeable, we will not surrender it to Him. What then can God do in our interests but make our own life less agreeable to us and take away the plausible sources of false happiness? We are not living in a world where all roads are radii of a circle and where all, if followed long enough, will therefore draw gradually nearer and finally meet at the center, rather in a world where every road, after a few miles, forks into two, and each of those into two again, and at each fork, you must make a decision. Aim at heaven and you will get earth thrown in. Aim at earth and you get neither. God cannot give us a happiness and peace apart from Himself, because it is not there. There is no such thing. It may be hard for an egg to turn into a bird. It would be a jolly sight harder for it to learn to fly while remaining an egg. We are like eggs at present. And you cannot go on indefinitely being just an ordinary, decent egg. We must be hatched or go bad. Failures, repeated failures, are finger posts on the road to achievement. One fails forward toward success.